Hi there, it's Michael Ackerman coming to you from Seattle, Washington, where I am a realtor with Coldwell Banker Bain. Today's video blog is part 2 of the challenging neighbor subject. Yesterday I did a blog on what can happen if you get a challenging neighbor. Today I want to talk about how you can resolve that problem or come to terms on certain issues with your neighbors. So first of all, if you're buying a home and you aren't already living in the home, but if you're purchasing a home, in Seattle we have a contingency that we write into our purchase and sale agreements called the neighborhood review. And it's used to allow the buyer 1, 2, 3 business days to get out of the deal if they decide that the neighborhood isn't to their liking. And that can mean noise levels, proximity to shopping, proximity to freeways, basically anything about the neighborhoods. What I tell my clients, if they're concerned about a neighborhood, or even if they're not, it's a great time to do your investigative work. Knock on doors, knock on the neighbors' doors and talk to them and say, hey, we're thinking about making an offer on the house next door. What do you think of the neighborhood? You'll get a really good sense of who these people are by just knocking on the door and talking to them. And most people are going to be really friendly. And a lot of neighbors are going to give you a lot of information. So it's a really good way of kind of doing your own investigative work before you close on a home. So that's how you can kind of mitigate maybe any sort of problem up front. If you're getting a really bad feeling about a neighbor, you may want to look for another house. If you're already living in your home and a house sells next door, or you get a new tenant next door and they're a problem, there are a couple things that you can do. Number one, you can go over and try and talk to them. Be neighborly, maybe take them fresh scones, something like that. Sometimes that works, depending on personality type. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes people do not like to be told what to do. So there are a couple things that you can do. In King County, there's a dispute resolution center that's set up, and you may have one of these in your city, where there are hired and trained volunteers who help mitigate problems between neighbors. Getting a third party, a neutral third party involved can sometimes be a very useful thing. You may want to join forces with some of your neighbors. If a neighbor has an overgrown yard, depending on who that neighbor is, maybe they can't take care of the yard themselves or they don't have enough money, maybe offer to collectively come and clean out their yard together, or help to repaint their neon pink house that they painted like 5-10 years ago. It's a little bit tricky to do that without, you want to respect someone's feelings and their privacy, but I think there's a way that you can do it that might be copacetic. If you have tenants next door, you may want to contact the landlord and let them handle the problem. Just say, look, we're getting a lot of noise or smells coming from the house next door. You may want to check it out. You can also make formal complaints online. In the city of Seattle, and I'm going to give you the online complaint website in the body of this blog, so you can actually make a formal complaint to the city. They do have people that actually enforce the city ordinances, so you can make a formal complaint as well. And lastly, you can try to mitigate the problem. Get a white noise machine, get earplugs, plant really tall shrubs in your backyard, maybe a better fence, something like that. So hopefully these are helpful items to you, and I'm hoping that none of you who are watching this ever have a really challenging neighbor. But if you do, maybe this blog will be helpful to you. If you have any other questions about real estate in general, do feel free to email me at michaelackerman@cbbain.com. And do remember, it's all about the connection.